Picture this fusion up in 3D. Let's beat that fusion with our own fusions. Hey guys, MasakoX here. April Fools on this channel are the best places to foster brand new ideas with much less rigid rule sets than some of our other stories, which we do tend to try and keep more in the family in regards to the Toriyama stable. This one started the trend back in 2018, where we took the idea that we were longing for before it was cool and before the movie was even a thing. In fact, before we even got the first snifter of a teaser trailer, so for this, we were going in blind without any influence at all from the new Broly whatsoever. Back in 1993, we could never possibly envisage that Broly would be anything other than just a simple meathead who just wanted to scream a name over and over and over again to make money. Now though, we've managed to simplify all of that by using the tried and tested narrative tactic of amnesia to reset Broly and temper his anger into something much more manageable and also something more endearing. So today, we are coming back to the days of Broly turning good and seeing whether it can hold all the way through to the end of the story. Since the factory reset of this guy, he has shown that his power and constant building up of said power was something that would be of fantastic use to our dragon team. Thanks to Broly, Barbody, or what he would like to call Broly, the little potato head man, was put down very, very soon, and it meant that the advancement of the Majin Buu arc would never take place. Buu was just resting down in the bowels of Earth, or at least not in our heroes' lifetimes that we would see Buu. That could be for someone else. Despite Broly calming down and ironically seeking solace and guidance from Vegeta of all people if you know his backstory, the arrival of future Trunks back into the story in the Super Arc, as well as the increasing strain of the Super Saiyan Blue power, was starting to wear down Broly's psyche more and more, to actually the point of him starting to regress and remembering, and even being prone to mood swings that were really destructive and perilous, that we had to have Whis calm him down, and when that arrives, you know that you're heading for thin ice. Which is kind of funny actually, because that's where our heroes found him in the first place. In the last part, the callous way that future Broly's treatment and subsequent erasure by future Zamasu, or Fused Zamasu, sent our good boy for a loop and questioned his value and place in the team no end. I mean, was he just a toy or something? Or was he a ticking time bomb? He didn't know. Either way, future Broly was quickly dispatched in the last part when Fused Zamasu became a thing, and all of this sent our Broly into quite a bit of a tailspin which could only be alleviated with the chance to fuse himself. Having grown very strained with his master, Broly had the confidence and bravery to step in and fuse with Goku in a last-ditch effort to bring down merged Zamasu for good, and this would result in a fusion that not many people might know of, but something that they do want. Something that we saw in the 3DS game Dragon Ball Fusions. Yes, we got Karoli. Something that would have remarkable power and potential, especially since both parties knew the power and might of Super Saiyan Blue. Karoli, now transformed to base Super Saiyan right from the start, stares determinedly at Fused Zamasu, who is looking very interested in this combination of powers. Indeed, like we mentioned last time out, Zamasu never expected the likes of the Metamorans to ever figure in such an event as this, but he knew how they worked and operated, and that really all he had to do was just wait out the clock, and those fools would then be powerless. I mean, he had waited years for the chance to rid the universe of mortals. Yeah, he could wait another half an hour, at the longest. Oh, yeah, Zamasu, could you hold that thought? Karoli's first strike against Fused Zamasu is enough to surprise him, not hurt him, but give him pause for thought. My, the pet has claws. Too bad that you caught my attention. That will be the last time that you strike me. Zamasu then strikes Karoli down, back to the ground, but the fusion isn't that flawed. You're nothing special, Zamasu. All that build-up, and for what? Just some pompous fool with a giant frisbee on his back. Zamasu is getting a little ticked off by this. Shut your mouth, mortal! You wouldn't want your last words to be so vulgar now, would you? Karoli shrugs. I can wait you out. I know that the stronger you get, the shorter you have to even come close to my majesty. I don't need that long now that I have an idea of what makes you tick. Karoli gets into position and then powers up into Super Saiyan Blue. That Super Saiyan thing? Oh, that was just a test. The jump in power is very apparent soon enough. Zamasu doesn't wait to find out. He unleashes his Blades of Judgment technique down on the ground, to which Karoli disappears amidst. Vegeta and the others can sense this going on from afar, back in the forest miles away, and are wondering if they should actually go in and try and help Karoli. Trunks wants to be the one to end things so desperately himself, but he does know that he is in the midst of something that he cannot win on his own. Vegeta then looks to the horizon and sighs.
I let him down.
What? Who did you let down, father?
Broly. I should have fused with him. Together, we would have been mighty, a culmination of all the training that we had done. Instead, I let Kakarot get the upper hand. I fear that my tenure as a master is compromised. Trunks, can you remember how that stupid fusion thing works?
Trunks gasps and tries to recollect the situation. He ponders about what his father would mean by that. Meanwhile, back at the scene, Zamasu cannot sense Karoli amongst his blades and he is feeling rather victorious, but then he gets a vicious double-fisted head slam, which then catapults him into his own attack, to which he can barely escape from. In fact, he actually does get nicked by one blade, but only just. It's enough to get his attention. Up in the sky is Karoli, resplendent in his blue aura.
Careful, Zammy, you almost ended yourself. That attack isn't that practical if you move, haha!
Zamasu is getting more and more frustrated with this pest, far more annoyed than he ever got with Vegito. He launches himself at the Saiyan fusion, and the proper fight begins, with the pair of them fairly equal in power, but with the composure and confidence of the latter, Karoli not batting an eyelid, Zamasu's integrity is starting to falter. Much like after Goku's Kaioken Blue attack, the Kai's visage is starting to corrupt on one side, and eventually his bulked up rage form is apparent, to which Karoli takes great mirth from. He's got under his skin.
Wow, I didn't think angelic beings could be so ugly!
Zamasu is just fueling his own downfall at this point. He is just making it harder for himself. He's berserking out more and more at being denied his victory by such an annoying entity.
Just a little longer,
Zamasu mutters to himself, thinking that the fusion is going to split sometime soon, given the power that was being outputted.
What's the matter? Getting scared? You started this, Zamasu. End it. I don't care how.
Zamasu looks up and seethes.
If that's what you want, Saiyan!
Zamasu screams to the skies and a huge surge of energy exudes from his body.
I will make you regret your posturing! I will wipe this world out in an instant before finishing what I started! You should never have angered me, mortal! You have doomed your own world!
Karoli is actually getting a little worried right now. The Goku inside of him remembers this happening before with the likes of Semi-Perfect Cell and Frieza. They've got previous. So, this guy too was having a big hissy fit at not having his own way. But having said that, he knew that the Kai was right. Time was running out on many levels. But there was something odd though. He couldn't feel his body running out of time like fusion usually does. What's going on? Was Broly's overflowing ki perhaps keeping this fusion together? I mean, there's no time to figure this out right now. I mean, obviously you've got a very angry Kai that you're trying to calm down, or better yet, try and destroy the guy. Karoli then, in that moment, decides to unleash a counterattack. Planet Geyser. It's risky, but this should be enough to try and cancel out what Zamasu is trying to do. In one go, Karoli gets into position, and the geyser connects with Zamasu's surging attack. Now granted, it's a struggle, and Karoli can feel his body starting to reach its limits by now, but it needs to keep going. Sure enough, the attack is enough to try and disrupt Zamasu's anger, and there is a huge cataclysmic explosion which eliminates the surrounding half-mile, except for the combatants. When the smoke clears, Karoli lands down on the ground to find traces of Zamasu's clothing. Had he done it? Well, I mean, right now he could not sense his energy like before. But yeah, victory! Got him! To quote another fusion, Yosha! That is until Zamasu shows up. He grabs Karoli in a full Nelson and is raving about how he had enough of this. Forget his plan now. He just wanted everything to stop so he could finally get some peace. being halted by this being right at the final hurdle was enough to tip Zamasu over past the brink of insanity.
I don't care about my plan anymore. All I care about is ending this blasted torture!
Crowley's getting unsettled. Despite knowing the fact that Broly's output is helping elongate his time in the battle, it can't last forever. He tries to escape, but he can't. Zamasu's power is surging like crazy again. But suddenly, Zamasu stops. He turns around to see Vegeta and Trunks looking on. He particularly is shooting a glare at Trunks.
Trunks! Why won't you die?
I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction, you freak. Vegeta, eyes shut out of sheer determination and sort of embarrassment, initiates the fusion dance. Zamasu tries to drop Crowley, but Crowley stops him.
No you don't! You wanted me? You got me!
We now see the arrival of Vegeks on the battlefield. In one instant, the second fusion launches itself at Zamasu, and together with Crowley, they then pincer Zamasu, squashing the Kai together, pinning him down. This pain, as well as the pressure, is seeing an even more advanced degradation of the Kai's fusion than we ever saw in the original. The left side of Zamasu is starting to melt even further, and he now can no longer muster power from his left side with it writhing about.
What is this? Why can't I move?
Vegeta pipes up.
It's because you rushed into this. You forgot that your friend wasn't immortal like you. That half of you can no longer cope. And well, I think you can feel what's happening.
Zamasu can indeed feel what's happening. His essence was unraveling, his spirit starting to dissolve. This wasn't going to just be a simple diffusion, this was him coming apart. He could feel his mind going, being replaced with unbridled fury. He was basically turning into a mindless mortal. He was scared. No, he was petrified. It can't end like this.
No.
Zamasu's body was contorting itself as it was being squeezed by Crowley and Vegeta before, boom! An arc of energy explodes around the fusions and nobody can sense what is going on. When the light clears, Zamasu is gone. Not a trace was left. Not even those weird little sparkles that we saw in the original after Trunks sliced him in half. But wait, Masako, how come his essence isn't there? Does that mean that this future is saved? Yes. You see, the arrival of Vegeta meant that Zamasu's mind was being undone, and his drive was compromised by the sheer frustration of Crowley, and thusly, the spirit of Zamasu from both ends was damaged beyond repair. Thusly, he had become a monster, with no mind to speak of, and with a ton of energy. Where is that energy going to go? Well, we saw in Broly, upwards and outwards, bathing the earth with a healing force which removed the green clouds from above and left the world basking in the clear night sky for the first time in years. Zamasu had truly been removed from this realm. The two fusions gaze at one another for a split second, smile, before Crowley splits back into Broly and Goku. Vegeta stands there and bows to Broly.
You did well, Broly. I am proud of you. I am sure the Vegeta in me would wish to express that himself.
Broly, tired and exhausted, smiles back and feels satisfied with his lot. In time, Vegeta diffuses as well, and the four of them then start to assess the situation. Mai regroups as well with Trunks, and together they then inform what was left of the people around as well as the resistance that it was truly over. Goku himself is looking around in case Zamasu would then return in some form. Well, he needn't have worried. This time, the Kai had been expunged, all thanks to his own madness. When things did become clear that it was seriously going to be alright, Goku, Vegeta and Broly then start to make their goodbyes to the resistance and together with Trunks head back in time to then collect themselves back into the present. And then once everything had been refueled and was ready to go, Trunks was ready to head back to start the reconstruction effort for the second time. Vegeta then tells Trunks that there is a capsule located in the time machine that could be of use.
This should help speed the process up. Find New Namek if it's still out there, and heal your universe. Well done, my son.
Trunks smiles and promises to do his best and to not bother the past again. I apologize, Trunks, for my impertinence, Broly says to Trunks, having calmed down tremendously, but he still has that headlock that Whis had placed on him. No problem, Broly. I'm glad this is all over and that you're at peace. My future needs to heal once again.
Take care, all of you.
And with that, Trunks heads back into the future and ready to start anew. For the next few days, Broly tries to repair his relationship with Vegeta, and Vegeta feels the need to do that himself. He had lost faith in his pupil, and that had hurt Broly immensely. It would take time, but the prince knew that he had to regain trust in both himself as well as his pupil. Having said that though, Broly was having to deal with something else. He had something to think about. Whilst the act of fusion with Kakarot was pretty awesome, and it was amazing to have that kind of power and confidence behind it, it left him with something weird. It had left him with something just at the back of his mind, something he didn't like. He had actually, without realizing, shared a mind with Goku, Kakarot. We're not quite sure how fusion works when two minds become one per se, but I feel for the sense of this story, it would be thematically intriguing to say where this might go. Broly's mind had reformed quite nicely since being discovered by Goten, but there were still gaps in his memory from before being discovered by the son of Goku. Gaps that were never replaced or filled in or completely gotten rid of, but fusing with Kakarot had started to do so. He was beginning to remember from prior to his bump on the head. Kakarot's influence had begun to resurge. Broly's mind was potentially beginning to relapse with no hope of being able to fix it. The crying young Kakarot by his bedside, King Vegeta trying to end him with a blade, Paragus, his father. It was all coming back to him, slowly but very surely. He had begun to resent Kakarot once more. Now he knew why Kakarot had been so important to him for so long. It wasn't because he would bring understanding or solace, quite the opposite in fact. Kakarot had initially ruined his life, and for the longest time they had lived in destitution. The only thing that had kept him from wasting Kakarot right there and then when he started to think about it was the life he had after. He needed to get away from here. One night, Broly took a ship from Capsule Corp and set off into space. Before anyone knew what happened or where he went, he was long gone, and attempts to contact him were met with silence. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? Does this Broly, who now remembers, have a chance to still remain good? Will Whis be able to help him, or is this just all a lost cause? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!